All right, hey, what's up, guys? It's Jamie. It is October 24th. I believe it's the 24th. It's Wednesday, 2023. We're getting to the end of the month here. I wanted to talk about probabilities versus possibilities and why I believe it's better to play probabilities in anything that you're doing versus possibilities. And the way I'll put that in perspective is if you are a gambler, a straight up gambler, you go to a convenience store and you say, I'm going to buy a scratch ticket. And then the scratch ticket, whether it's $5, $20, I think they have them $50 now or whatever, it'll say win up to, right? $4 million. I've seen them on the one when you go in there. And you see that, wow, man, I got a chance, for $20, I got a chance. It's a possibility that I could win $4 million. Now, I don't know what the odds are of you winning, right, that, but I know that they're not very likely. It's a very slim possibility that you're going to win. Or if you buy a Powerball ticket, and you say, I'm going to get a Powerball ticket for $2 or $4, whatever it costs, and I might win $1 million or $1 billion. They just had it. It was like over $1 billion, right? But it's a lot of people throughout the United States are playing this Powerball and the Mega Millions and these different things where they're like, there's a possibility that I could win, and maybe I'll buy a couple tickets. I'll get more than one, and there's a possibility that I'm going to be a millionaire, a billionaire, right? Again, I don't know what the actual odds are, but the chances of you winning that are very, very slim to none of you winning. So, probabilities, okay? Different examples, just trying to put in perspective. I like to use this one. I wear a seatbelt the majority of the time. I try to wear it all the time. Maybe once in a great while I won't, and shame on me, because you should always wear your seatbelt. Because if there's an accident, be it my fault or somebody else's, or a road condition or something that happens out of my control, the probabilities of me not getting hurt or hurt as bad or surviving an accident are much greater statistically than if I don't wear a seatbelt, regardless of the speed that I'm driving. Okay? If you're a trader and you get into a position, whether you're trading options or just getting into any kind of position, and you don't do your due diligence, and I've done that just recently, where I got out of a position not knowing, for example, that earnings were coming up on the primary stock that I trade, which is Tesla, and I was distracted with other things in life, and I wasn't paying attention to things that heavily influence the market. So as a result of that, I missed out in a big way on some opportunity to increase my probabilities of making money. And I increased the probabilities of me losing money, based on the facts that I know, because of lack of information. The information was there, I just wasn't looking for it. So the probabilities of me not succeeding were much greater than they would have been had I had the information that was available to me that I wasn't looking for. So the more and more times, I can give you 1,000 examples, right? Like if you smoke heavily, if you do drugs, if you drink heavily, right? The chances of you getting a heart attack or cancer or some type of sickness, right? What do they call it? CPD or COPD, something where you're respiratory. There's all these different probabilities in a negative way that your health is going to be negatively affected by living this way. All right. And again, I'm not judging anybody. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just telling you that this is the statistics of how we choose to live. Eat right, exercise, still die, but you increase your probabilities by eating right and exercising of having a longer life, or a better probability of living a longer life, or at least a healthier life, and decreasing your chances for cardiovascular disease and different type of diseases, and being debilitated as we get older, right? And mobility and dementia and all these different things that can affect us. by making these choices and actions every day. So my encouragement to my children, my friends, to the young people, or my peers is, that we try to make the better choices, even if they're not what we feel like doing. Like we may not want to do that. We might say like, this is not really what I want, to do. This is not exactly my my choice, preference of doing this specific thing. Like if you're a smoker, I used to be a smoker. I enjoyed smoking cigarettes. I enjoyed a cigar, but usually a cigarette. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I didn't want to give it up, but I heard myself wheezing. I could hear my, like when I was breathing at night, I had shortness of breath. I was coughing. I smelled like smoke. I was spending a lot of money on cigarettes. I mean, I'd smoke maybe half a pack a day, off and on, for many years. And there's a lot of things that negatively affected me from smoking. So I made a choice to say, okay, I think it's better that I don't, and now I have to take actions and not smoke. So again, this isn't a lesson for someone about like, not doing things like that. But this is just an example where you're like, okay, that makes sense. That's a pretty good analogy where it's simple. Whether you're 8 years old, right, or 50 years old or older, you could say, okay, that makes sense. So as I go into today, I have several things that I'm looking at, okay? I have this truck. Let me see. Let me show you right here. Can you see that? That's not really good. Let me put this over like this. All right. So we have this truck, which is a 2023 Yukon Denali XL. So that truck is a $100,000 truck. And I'm not saying that to brag or anything. I'm just saying that truck we were going to put on Turo or private rental. Now, private rental would probably make sense because we could get somewhere between $300 and $500, I think, a day, on private rental. But I haven't yet to find a business location where I can put the license of occupancy and all the things I need to do to have a private rental business. That's going to take some time. And when you put on Turo, because I'm new to the Turo platform, I've only been on there 3 weeks now, I think, or so. This is our fourth car. It got booked, twice, but it went to the lowest number. It was like $100, $130 a day. Which you might say, oh, that's not bad. But when the market is saying 3, right, 3 to 5 actually, and you get it for 100, the debate my wife and I had was, she says, no, I don't want us to rent it out. And I was like, well, let's just rent it. We can change it later. She goes, no, because it's a steal for these folks to get it at that price. And I'm like, well, that's my fault. She goes, just cancel it. And the debate was, I don't want to cancel a trip because it hurts you on this Turo platform, and I don't want to do that. But the probabilities, the possibility of something happening to the truck are not worth, right, the $100 a day, for the truck. Like $300 to $500 a day makes more sense. So when you're looking at like, okay, we're going to make a certain amount of money, but the trade-off isn't worth the mileage, the risk to something happening to the vehicle, the wear and tear for 3 days or a week, which is what somebody wanted to rent it. Now I sent a message out and called one. There's 2 cancellations. One guest wasn't really happy about it, but that's what I did. The second guest sent me a message back that said, I understand the deal seemed too good to be true. Maybe I'll put that up there. And he understood, but it's not his fault, right? He's just like, hey, I saw the deal, I took advantage of it. Like nobody's gonna complain about a super good deal for a vehicle that's worth $90,000 to $110,000 and they can get for $100 a day, right? But that was because I didn't do my due diligence and understand the process. So sometimes we can get spread too thin. Like we have a couple other cars over here that, these little Fiats. We have 2 or 3 Fiats. I have one listed. I'm going to be listing 2 more. We got these Pathfinders, which are different, that, you just throw them up there and they start to rent out. And the possibilities of things happening and the probabilities of things happening may, run tandem, but you're making a certain amount of money. And if you have a certain amount of cars, at the end of the month, your gross profit is a certain amount, and you just weigh out the possibilities and the probabilities of something happening to a depreciating asset. Is it covering itself? If something happens, do you have insurance? The guests, I can't control the guests. Some people are going to drive very good. Some are not going to drive so well. So you put stuff in like these GPS things to increase the probabilities of you being able to find the car if it got stolen or abandoned, or if there's an accident, you want to be able to go find it. It might help you with your insurance versus the possibility of like, it may never get stolen. It may never get in an accident. I don't need GPS. So you are just basing it on the possibility of something not happening versus like, I'd rather have a fire extinguisher in my kitchen in the event that something happens and there's a fire and I want to put it out and I don't have it, right? The probabilities are better that I'll put the fire out if I have the extinguisher versus not. Again, I'm giving another example. So kids, if you're young and you're studying, like I know my daughters or young are never thrilled, they have good grades, to do their homework and to study and to write out these things and to do tutoring and to stay, do all these different things. But if they do it, they get good grades, they learn, they become, more disciplined in their school habits and their education versus nobody holding them accountable, nobody caring if they get a failing grade or a good grade, or nobody sitting with them and working them through the problems. Like I know my daughter will say, "Dad, can you check this for me?" Not as often as they do with their grandmother and aunts and stuff like that, but they will ask me, and whether I want to do it or not, I stop and I try to help. I want them to know that I think it's important, and make it feel like it's important for them as much. It is important for me as much as it's important for them, because if you dismiss it and you don't care, then they may not care. So these are different things. I'm kind of rambling on here, but I'm just trying to give you perspective on why it's important to kind of put your focus, I think, on probabilities more than possibilities. Okay, so whether you're entering a stock position on a company, whether you're going to invest long term, or if it's going to be a day trade or a swing trade, which is primarily what I do. If you're going to start a company and you're going to have, these cars that are out that trying to make you money, you got to understand that there's risks to doing that. You have to understand that there's time management. You're going to have to go meet the guests. You're going to have the core prep. Somebody's got to do it, and the probabilities are you're going to have to go somewhere late or early and sacrifice some time to grow the business. Versus, it's possible I can hire somebody and you can't find anybody. I haven't found anybody that will do it the way I'll do it. So far, I'm trying to, but I don't have enough cars yet to where I could really go aggressively. For now, I'm like, okay, I just got to do this for the first 10 cars or so, 10 to 20 cars, where I have to sacrifice because I want that to pay for itself. It makes more sense than me buying 20 to 50 cars, which we can do, but I'd be stupid. It would be crazy to do that. The probabilities of me failing are far greater because I don't have the staff, the place to put them. I don't have all the things worked out, even though I have the ability to get the cars. It's better to kind of go, okay, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing right? How can we be more efficient? How can we solve some problems? How can we maximize our money, right? How can we make and it's a constant evaluation. If you're going to work and your boss is expecting you to be 15 minutes early and you keep coming late, then the probabilities of you getting fired or not getting an opportunity are, or some type of benefit to you are more likely, again, negatively, than if you show up early every day, right? And you have a good attitude and you do a good job and you help out. And you may not always feel like it, you're probably going to be the man or the woman that they say, oh, this is a good employee, right? That doesn't always happen, but they might say, we need people like this in our organization, and we're going to give them the opportunity. So when the opportunities come and they need somebody, they're probably, right, versus possibly, are going to pick you to fill the role because you show up on time, you do the best job you can, and you don't have to be the very, very best. But if you outwork other people and show up, you increase your probabilities of excelling, right? And on and on and on. I can keep giving you examples of playing probabilities over possibilities. Okay, so I know that some folks kind of wander in here looking for stock stuff or talks about investing and real estate, and let me leave with that. I got a few minutes left. If I go buy a property with be it ourselves, like my wife London and I, or if we partner with somebody, I do not want to risk the possibility of making money versus the probabilities. Like if there was a house recently that we could have got, we had a deal at $475, and it was told from our realtors that it was probably worth somewhere between $650 and $700. They were one of them said just the way it is. I disagreed, and the other one said, "Oh, I mean, she'd be able to get $550, just the way it is." So I was like, okay. So a high point is $700. If we can get it for $475, it needs to be completely cleaned out, some fresh paint, floors, appliances, things like that. $50,000 to $100,000 easily, and if we really wanted to step up, $100,000 to $200,000. So I had to look at the probabilities of at $475, the probabilities of us making money, regardless of how much we invested into the property, were much, much greater than like paying $700 or $650, whereas the person wanted originally somewhere around $590 to $600. I didn't want to. The probabilities of us making money at $600 were far less greater than getting it for $450 to $500. Okay. Now the deal fell through, and I felt kind of bad, even though at the end I was trying to find a way to make the deal stay together. But it didn't make sense to pay, $575, $600, or even $550, in my opinion, because for the turnaround time of holding the property, paying, because we're not paying cash, for paying the bank at the rate, for the upfront costs, and then the cost to hold it and to renovate it, which could take 3 to 6 months easily, and then put it back in the market. We're in New England, so we're going into the winter, so we wouldn't be able to sell it until the spring market. It's just like, I don't like it for $550. I don't like it for $600. So you got to sometimes walk away from deals and opportunities, whatever they may look like for you, that you really want to do. You feel like, man, I really want to make this deal. I really want to take this job. I really want to get in this relationship. I really want to buy this car. I really want to enter this stock position because I like the company. But when you look at it and you evaluate it and you do your due diligence and you weigh out the possibilities and the probabilities, always try to lean towards the probabilities. That's my opinion. Okay? All right, that's long enough. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. See ya.